Today I'm joined by the Minister of Agriculture and Irrigation for Alberta, RJ Sigurdsson. He is here to talk about what the Ministry of Agriculture did this year. And so thank you so much for being with me today, RJ.
Great to be here with you, Thomas.
And Minister, how was this year for the Ministry of Agriculture?
Two of the three previous years being drought years, our focus this year was around ensuring that we had strong business risk management programs that our farmers and ranchers always rely on year over year, that AFSC delivers. With that, it started off really good in the spring. We had a lot of good moisture that came at the right time. Unfortunately, we didn't see some of the moisture that we'd like to see into July, and some heat across the province that, of course, affected some of the crops. That wasn't ideal. The province overall came in around average, which, considering the previous years, was better than it could have been, is really what we've said to a lot of our farmers and ranchers. But of course, you always want to hope for more. But definitely it was an average season. Of course, some of the areas of the province weren't and didn't do as well as others. But that's why we always focus on continued strategies on expanding irrigation options for more water storage across the province. Our government in our last budget allocated an additional $5 million to feasibility studies to take a look at what areas in the province that we can store more water to be able to expand irrigation, understanding how important it is to be able to get us through those drought years. But of course, we just continue to work with our farmers and ranchers, build out that critical infrastructure, and make sure that we've got strong business risk management programs there, like crop insurance, agri insurance, to be able to aid our farmers if they saw production losses, as they do sometimes in the year.
And Minister, could you tell me a little bit about some of the new infrastructure that you guys brought in for 2024?
Well, of course, we increased the funding to our irrigation rehabilitation program with our irrigation districts, which is critical for them to continue to maintain and upgrade their irrigation infrastructure, but as well the irrigation modernization project, the $933 million that was announced by the previous minister, Minister Horner. That is still an ongoing project. We're seeing huge gains from that. Switching from open canals to closed piping systems has allowed a lot of our irrigation districts to irrigate much more land within their current allocations, which speaks to efficiency, which is going to be critical in the future. And we're seeing a lot of benefits through programs like that, as well as our SCAP programs, like our on-farm efficiency programs, that are aiding our farmers and ranchers, especially in our irrigation districts.
And how did your department deal with the railway strikes that took place this summer? And how does your department continue to plan on helping out producers in times of need?
Well, definitely, we've heard it from a lot of our trading partners that the labor disruptions that have affected the supply chain are a deep concern. And this is a conversation that we have ongoing with our federal counterparts to look at ways that we can manage labor disruptions better in the future, be more proactive to avoid actual supply chain disruptions. Personally, myself as the Minister of Agriculture here in the province, I think agricultural products as a whole, being the fact that they are essential, should be exempt to any labor disruptions. But we continue to have ongoing conversations with our federal counterparts. Hopefully in the future, they are more proactive and get involved at an earlier stage to avoid having labor disruptions that equate into strikes and or work stoppages that affect the flow of essential agricultural goods and commodities, because it is having an impact. Our global trading partners, their food security is important, and we have to make sure that the flow of those agricultural products aren't impacted by those disruptions.
And what are the plans for the Ministry of Agriculture for 2025?
Well, our strategy is going to be continued focus on expanding irrigation, understanding how it can increase production and its importance in drought years. I think it's critical that as a government, when we have seen the impacts of drought years just recently, that we don't lose focus on planning for the next drought, and making sure that we are investing in the right areas on reservoirs with it and all the other modernization and technology that we can utilize to better prepare us for the next drought. Of course, my focus will be, as always, to make sure that our business risk management programs that our farmers and ranchers rely on in those times of drought and production loss are there and available and affordable for our farmers and ranchers to make sure that they can stay whole through those tough years. Of course, overall, the one thing that I've been having conversations more and more on as a minister here in the province of Alberta is working on our federal counterparts to make sure that they're not implementing or regulating or establishing legislation or policies that continue to erode the profitability of our farmers away. We have to make sure that our farmers and ranchers are profitable. When they are, they invest in new innovations and technologies that advance them into more sustainable farming practices. So I really have been trying to work and collaborate with our federal counterparts to make sure that they understand that some of the regulations that have been put in place by the federal government are not working in the best interest of our farmers and ranchers. We have to always make sure that we're there working with them hand in hand. I've always said it's better to lead with a carrot than rule with a stick. Our government is focused on doing exactly that. We want to create programs that allow our farmers and ranchers to shorten the capital gap for investment in new technologies and investments. And we want to make sure that we're working with them to ensure that they are profitable on the global stage.
Thank you so much for all the information today, Minister, and hopefully we can see a little bit more moisture for the 2025 year to help out producers across the province.
Absolutely. That is the one thing that I do very often is pray for the right conditions for our farmers and ranchers. Hopefully we get a good snowpack this winter and we move into some favorable spring and summer conditions next year. I know our farmers could really use a bumper crop here real soon to aid them to get into a better financial position considering some of the strain they've seen over the past couple of years.